Hello. Okay, so I'm going to be the cameraman and Josh is going to pour these. We're not, really, prissy experts at these things. We have our certain ideas about techniques. So we've pre-wet all the filters to try to wash out paper taste. We're out using the same dosage. All of this coffee is a mix of Kenya microlots that I had just cupped. It's a day and a half old, so pretty optimum in terms of that. We're doing water by weight, which is what Josh is doing right now. We're using 360?
352.
352, sorry. We're using George Howell's formula in order to determine our brew percentage. We're shooting for 1.20% extraction. We're using our lovely Pinot kettle. Okay, so you started the timer?
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing we're doing is the clever coffee dripper because that soaks. Now here's our clever improvised lid on that. So I'd like to start that at 3 minutes.
Cool.
Unless you want to do 4.
Nah, it was at 4, so we'll start draining when it reads 1.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, usually if you start draining when it's 1, then you finish later. I guess I don't really do anything here. Josh is going to do the technique. I'm the expert flip cameraman. It's hard to get the pouring just right. Okay, so number 1. Like I said, we use the same grind, and we try to homogenize the sample because we're not cupping here. So we pre-ground and then we weighed. In cupping, you use whole beans and you grind each portion so that you don't, if there's a defect or an inconsistency in the coffee, you don't diminish that. You actually want that. Here we want homogenization because we're going to attempt to find out which of these brews better. We've actually made the glasses, they're coated on the bottom, so when we're all done we can basically scramble them and we won't know which is which, and then we can test them. And there's just these subtle differences. I'm not gonna, I've had great using the software and to taste. I've made great cups with drip cones that drain quickly and 2-minute extractions, but this is really unusual and it doesn't quite make sense. One thing that makes sense is a problem with drip cones that are flush, like this one, flush against the side, is that all of your drainage is happening in the bottom of the cone filter. So it means if you don't agitate the grinds, there's a potential for over extracting the bottom. You're not pulling from all the sides. It's not draining from all the surface area of the filter. So with these new styles like the Hario V60 that Josh is pouring now, that has these pronounced ridges that holds the filter away from the body of the brewer, the filter cone holder, and it makes sense that it would extract or pull from all over. It would be filtering with a greater surface area. The little swirly design in there, I don't know what that is except design. People have said it has some sort of turbidity and but I just can't see it. So we're draining the clever coffee dripper already. We released that at about 3 minutes. We're already finished over here on the Bon Mac copy of the V60. And this, the number 1 is kind of challenged. Maybe our test is a little unfair because it's a number 1 size, not a number 2. So the pour is definitely a little slower because we simply can't load up the top with water. I mean, the basic pour technique is to attempt to, is what you're attempting to do is pour slowly, evenly, a circular pattern around the sides, around the edges without actually hitting the filter. Whoa. hitting the edge of the filter. That's kind of a general idea of how to pour in a drip. You can pre-infuse a bit, soak the grinds, let them bloom, or not. Did we basically bloom these grinds?
Yep. Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.